Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. Hope you like the video. Any questions, comment below. Let's get straight into it.
Hello, welcome to the video guys. I know it's been a while since we've posted anything, but today we are working on a 520D F10 BMW, and what we're going to be doing today is installing the official OEM genuine rear view camera. As you can see here, we'll also be changing the screen to the bigger 8.8 or 10 inch screen just in there. Currently it is the 6.5 inch. As you can see here, we've got the original BMW install instructions for the rear view camera. That's the actual camera module, the rear view camera, the plastic trim piece for the rear, all the fuses, nuts and bolts, wire clips, tie wraps, etc. The main loom which is there, and a couple of brackets. So all of this that you've just seen, minus the screen, comes in the Retrofit kit. So it's all available as one. The only thing that you have to purchase separately is the actual camera module just here. So what we're going to be working on today is in the rear of the boot, and also going to be going through to the front of the vehicle. What we're going to be doing is taking off all the trim pieces on the back, off the boot here as well, just so we can fit in the camera piece just there. We'll be taking off the side trims, we'll be feeding the wiring down here, the module will sit here. We'll also be taking off this piece here just so we can fit one of the wires to the fuse boxes, which is sitting there on the right. And then we'll be travelling the rest of the wires down the side here, down the side of the trim panel on the sills, behind the glove box. We'll be taking the glove box out, and then to the back of the head unit. There will be a couple of wires that will need splicing in to the CAN bus, which we'll be showing you as well, but they're part of this loom here. So you've got a ground wire that goes to the fuse, 5 wires that go towards the head unit, 3 that actually connect to the head unit, and then the 2 CAN bus wires which will be connecting up to CAN wires at the front from the IHKA module. So yeah, stand by, we'll show you how we're going through it. Also, as part of this retrofit, we will be updating the vehicle's I-level, software firmware level of all the modules to the latest version, which is currently 2003, which is March of 2103, which is March of 2021. So it'll be 2103, which will be the latest I-level with everything in. So we're going to start off with the actual boot trim panel removal. Get that into focus. So there's a number of screws that need to be removed. So one there, one just up there, one on the inside on here, and it mirrors on the other side. There's also 4 just along the trim there, and I'll show you these other 3. So again, there, and underneath. There are also 2 which are in the fabric just underneath the first aid kit, just there. They need to be removed as well, and then this first aid kit can be removed. So we'll take all that off and we'll be back. So with these type of screws, they don't screw all the way out. What you have to do is screw them until they don't screw out anymore, and then use a trim removal tool similar to this one to get in there, and then it just pops out, and you can see the type of connector is on there. So that'll be for all of the ones on here, apart from the 2 fabric screws there, they'll just pop straight out. So with the trim off, it'll just pull off. There are 2 clips in here, which I'll show you just on here, off the trim, which will just pop off. You can see those white ones that pop in. So if you pull from the side outwards, they'll pop out there, and then the trim should come straight off from there. So what we're going to do next is take off the boot handle, which we can get to from behind here. Just be mindful of the cabling, etc. But we're going to pop that out first, and then remove the cabling from this side. As you can see, the boot trim panel is out. And the easiest way of seeing how to remove this is looking at the replacement one before you start prying at it, etc. And it will show you on here that there's 2 tabs there on the inside, 2 there, one on this left side and another 2 just here. So you need to get something on the inside through the back of it, sort of pry them open slowly, and then it should all just pop out. So this is the new one that we'll be putting in along with the camera, which will fit in and show you it working. So you can see here we've plugged in the camera. Obviously we still need to put the wiring in. Just plug this micro switch back in, which is the boot lid release, just here. Obviously we've had the battery removed, but we've just plugged it back in just to make sure that the operation of the boot lid is working, which we're just going to test right now. Which is perfectly fine. You can hear that noise, it's actuating, which means when I plug this back into its slot, I don't need to mess about with removing it. So we're going to disconnect the battery again and get all the wiring, etc. put in. So within the retrofit kit, you'll also receive this loom. So this will be the one that connects from the camera directly to the camera module, the blue connector. So it will connect into that port just there on this side, and that side goes to the camera, and this will be mounted in the vehicle on the side just there. So we'll get this wire plugged in around the back here, and then feed it along the correct path down this this strut here, so it sits behind here, which we'll be removing shortly, and we'll show you how to do that. With the retrofit kit as well comes all the cable ties, etc. And what we'll do is we'll be following the retrofit instructions as to where to put all the cable ties, etc. as well. So as you can see just here, that's one side of the camera cable gone in through the hole there. We can now push this closed because we know we're happy with that. The other wire is coming through here. We're going to route it through the correct location, and then have it come down through the hole here, through here, making sure there's enough slack for when the boot is open and closed, so that it doesn't catch or chafe or pull in any way, shape or form, and that wire will go directly to you. So what we're going to do now is take off this side panelling here and this boot trim just here as well, and then the trim on this side, so we've got full access to everything. So in relation to the boot trim just here, which sits on the actuator, these are the bolts on here. They just need, like I say, bolts with little connectors, so they push straight in and connect in, so they just need pulling out from here and they'll just pop straight out. No screwing or anything needed for them. In order to remove the rear boot panel and this front panel just here, there's 2 nuts here that you need to take off, and that front panel will just come forward, lift out, and the same with this will just lift out now and can be removed, which will expose the battery, which gives us more access to taking these side panels off. Also just taking a couple of bolts off there as well, which will pull it loose, which means we can pull the side trims off. So in relation to this side panel, where the connectors are, there's one just here, one on the inside just there. There's also one cheeky one up here on a type of bracket there, and then one down here, and that will loosen up this whole side trim, which will just have to be manoeuvred around this, and that can all come loose. So this gives us enough access just to pop this cover out of the way, so we can mount our modules and our brackets just there, and then we can sort the wiring out as to where it's going to come down to this side fuse box, and also how we're going to pass it through this cable tie and that box just there, all the way going to the front of the vehicle. Next, it will be this will need to be removed. This plastic polystyrene bit just pops off as it sits on the edge just here. This also has a small connector, similar to the ones that were in the panel. That'll just need the top part here pulling out, and then it will just pop off. Once that is off, it gives you access to this area here, which is where we'll be putting the brackets which we got with the retrofit kit. I'll just show you here now. That's the actual camera unit just there, and that is the bracket which we've put on, which will sit just in here, as so. Be bolted to the chassis just there, in there, and then everything else will sit on top, and you can see it's got the relevant cutouts for everything to go back into place properly just on there. So the mount is in, and you can see the module just there. It's bolted in just there, and also just here. Just need to tighten them up, and then we'll get onto the wiring. So everything's mounted. The video cable coming from the camera has been installed. I've routed it correctly coming through here. Everything cable tied up. Enough slack I've made sure it's there and it's correct, so for when you open and close the boot there's no issues and no tugging, etc. And it all sits perfectly fine. That will be protected by the black casing that goes over this anyway, so that will protect that from anything dropping on it, etc, etc. So the retrofit wire is what we're going to be putting in next. Now it comes in two bits in a sense. So you've got the main loom there, which will go towards the head unit, and it will sit over there with all the connectors on there. The other side is here, which connects up to the well, one side connects straight into the control unit there, and then this second plug here will connect up to the main loom there, and then we've got the ground and the fuse wire just there, which is what we're going to be fitting. So the brown eyelet, which is here, this one, and there's a nice fuse location here, so we're just going to undo that bolt and connect it straight onto there. That's how the retrofit instructions tell us to do it, so that's what we'll be doing on there. So that'll give it a nice ground, and then the green wire will be traced along here all the way to the other side, to the fuse box on the other side, so we'll be popping that side off as well afterwards. So now the eyelet has been placed onto the ground there, and the green wire, which is going to go to the fuse box, has been routed around. We've not connected it just yet. We'll be doing that towards the end, once everything is in place. What we're going to be doing now is travelling the other end of the retrofit cable down to the head unit. So we're just going to start removing the rear seats and getting access to the box here, so we can travel the wire down. For the bottom part of the seat, it is literally just clipped on from the front end on both sides. Just needs a sharp lift up on both sides, and it will pop out and just take out the seatbelt clips there, and this will just pop straight off. Now from here you can see the bottom seats are held in with these clips just here on both sides. Now for the back, you can see there's two bolts that need to be removed from there, and they are T50 bolts, so they need to be unscrewed from there, and then the bottoms need to be popped out on both sides. And on the back here there are two latches, one about here and one about there, so the seat will need to be lifted up first and then it can be popped out. As you can see, the rear seat is out. So on the seat, when you pull off the front bottom sides first, they pop out of there, one on each side, and then you can see on here, that's the hook where the back of the seat hooks onto. What we're going to do now just remove these two little lugs here, which will expose this part of the wiring, so we can travel it all the way down. So you can see now we have full access to the rear, so we're going to run the retrofit cable through the little black box there, feed the wiring through. So it comes out here, and we're just going to follow the wiring down. So we'll be taking off this panel, the column just here, straight down, and then the glove box will be out, and it will go straight to the head unit. Yep, so the plastic has been removed. Just be mindful of the actual plastic trim on here underneath. The brackets can break, so they are like little round nuts on here. Just take one out to show you. So just be mindful of that. The wire has been routed down through this side, and it's just hanging here. What we're going to be doing next is removing the glove box. So in order to do that, we've just taken out this side panel, which just clips out, and we'll be taking out the front trim panel here, which again just pulls out, and there's a number of screws that we're going to be removing in order to get the glove box out, so we can pass the wire all the way through and then to the head unit. So the wiring has been fitted through the rear of the glove box all the way through. Just brought it out here. We'll be removing the climate control panel, head unit, etc., having all the wiring connected up. But what we're going to firstly do is just jump into the rear of the vehicle, put that green wire into the fuse box, get it fused off, and then we'll start with the connections on this side. So the green wire just tucked it behind there for the time being, but what we're going to be doing is putting it to the fuse box just there. So what we need to do is just remove this side panel, similar to the other side, and pop it out the way. So there's one there, one underneath just there. They'll need to be taken out, and we can pull this forward ever so slightly and get to it. If we need to remove it from that side at the back, we will do. Now, once we've got access to the fuse box here, obviously make sure the battery is disconnected when working on any of the electrics here. 3 8mm bolts, one there, and one on the top, and then we can pop that out and have this wire fitted. So that green wire has been connected into fuse 1, 2, 3, which is the second one down, 5 ampere, just this top one here. It's been connected. Sometimes they don't have the block connector in the rear of it, so that will need to be purchased, and then the wire fitted into there directly. Now we can put this back and go ahead and do the connections at the front. So now we're going to plug in the wires on the head unit end, and also the CAN high and low wires, which are the orange and green ones there. What we need to do first is obviously remove this climate control panel. So there's 2 Torx screws just here, and then this will pull off on some pressure clips, which are just here, pressure mounted on both sides. And then there's 2 connectors, the blue one and the black one. Just remove them and just pop the climate control panel out of the way and pop it to one side. That gives you access to the actual head unit here. Again, 2 Torx screws, they'll screw out. We can pop him out, and we need to get to the quad lock connector on that side. In terms of the CAN high and CAN low, what we're going to be doing is using the IHKA. You can see the twisted green and orange wires just here. They are going to be the ones that we're going to be connecting the green and white from here to, using the miniature connectors, which are part of the retrofit, and that means that the camera will be visible on the CAN network on there. So you can see this is the wire that's come through, the red, white and the shield. The red wire went into pin 21, the shield went into pin 23, and then the white cable went into pin 24 just next to it, just there. I've put it neatly behind the original strap cable here, which keeps all the wires together. Now what I'll be doing is connecting these 2 cables, the orange and green and the green to the orange and green on this here. So I'll be pulling it back a bit further here and putting the connector towards the back so it's out of the way and not visible. So you can see just there, connectors have gone in, connected from there, it's been nicely tucked away, and it'll leave enough room for the head unit to sit back in as well. So we'll have everything connected back up, and then after this it'll be a matter of coding through ISTA, which we'll show you how to do as well.
Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. Check out part 2 for the coding and programming.